Somewhere on a Target shelf under lighting that was clearly not designed to sell anything sits a $9 blush that just beat a $40 cult favorite in a side-by-side skin test. Nobody filmed a launch party for it. No influencer got paid to hold it up to a ring light. It just sits there, working. Here's the second one. There is a mascara on that same shelf that has more 5-star reviews than almost anything sold behind Sephora's glass counters. And it costs less than a Frappuccino. And here's the one that should really bother you. At least 2 of the luxury formulas you've been told are worth the splurge come out of the same manufacturing pipeline as the drugstore version sitting 2 aisles away. Different box, different price tag. Startlingly similar chemistry. You were taught to associate the Target beauty aisle with backup products. Things you grab in a rush, not things you actually trust. That instinct isn't stupidity, it's marketing that worked exactly as designed. Today we're taking it apart, brand by brand, with the receipts to back it up. This is DupeAudit, 8 Target brands, 8 Sephora bestsellers, and the numbers that decide who actually wins. Let's start at number 8. Milani versus Charlotte Tilbury. I want to start with a scenario. You're standing at the Sephora counter and you pick up Charlotte Tilbury's Pillow Talk blush. It's $40. The sales associate tells you it's the one everyone's obsessed with. And honestly, she's not wrong. That dusty rose shade has sold out more times than any brand wants to admit publicly. Now walk 2 miles down the road into a Target. On the Milani end cap sits a baked blush for $9 in a shade called Luminoso, and it uses the exact same baking technique, pigment cured directly onto a mineral base under heat, that gives Pillow Talk its soft second skin finish. Here's the number that actually matters. Milani's baked blush has been sitting near a 4.6-star average across tens of thousands of reviews for years, with a huge chunk of them mentioning the same thing. A single pan lasting 6, 7, 8 months of daily use. Charlotte Tilbury is owned by Puig, the same conglomerate funding Rabanne fragrances and Jean Paul Gaultier campaigns. A meaningful slice of that $40 is paying rent on a much bigger empire than one blush. If a $9 baked powder from a family-run drugstore brand can go toe-to-toe with a Puig-backed prestige icon, wait until you see what's happening in the highlighter aisle. It gets worse for Sephora. Wet n Wild versus Fenty Beauty. Let's flip the script on this one and start with the hype. Because Fenty's Diamond Bomb all over Diamond Veil earned its $38 price tag, honestly. It helped build Rihanna's brand into a billion-dollar name, and the multi-dimensional shimmer is genuinely gorgeous. But peel back what's actually creating that diamond veil effect, and you're looking at layered mica particles milled at different sizes. That's the entire trick behind why it doesn't look like one flat sparkle sitting on your cheekbone. It's a light refraction effect, not magic. Wet n Wild's Mega Glow. Highlighting powder does the same layering at $5. And in independent swatch breakdowns, some testers have actually found Wet n Wild's mica milled slightly finer, meaning less glitter fallout under your eyes by hour 6 of wear. Fenty sits inside LVMH, the same house that owns Louis Vuitton and Dior. Wet n Wild belongs to Markwins International, a company built entirely around one mission: mass market affordability without cutting the formula corners that actually matter. Number 7, Wet n Wild. Coming up, a clean girl trend everyone thinks was invented in a $23 bottle. It wasn't. ELF versus Rare Beauty Picture, the skin filter trend. Rare Beauty's Positive Light, Liquid Luminizer, $23, rode that wave hard, powered by Selena Gomez's name and a "your skin but better" promise that basically defined the dewy skin era on TikTok. ELF looked at that exact trend and released Halo Glow Liquid Filter at $14. And dermatologists have pointed out online that the light diffusing tech doing the heavy lifting is nearly identical. Microscopic reflective particles suspended in a hydrating base that visually blur pores and fine lines instead of just adding shine on top of them. Here's the number that should stop you. Halo Glow has one of the highest repurchase rates in ELF's entire history, and its combined review count across Target, Ulta, and ELF's own site sits in the hundreds of thousands. A Volume Rare Beauty's version, as beloved as it is, hasn't caught up to. ELF is publicly traded and has built its entire business model around releasing prestige-inspired dupes within weeks of a trend cycle. That's not an accident, that's a strategy, and it's working. Number 6, ELF. We're at the halfway mark, and the lip category is about to get uncomfortable for one very famous brow brand. Quick pause before number 5 because I want to say this properly instead of rushing it. This channel exists to do exactly what we're doing right now, pulling apart which luxury products are genuinely earning their price tag and which ones are running on a logo. If that's useful to you, subscribing means you catch the next audit the second it drops. Okay, back to the list. NYX versus Anastasia Beverly Hills. Anastasia Beverly Hills lip gloss, $20, solved a real chemistry problem. Glossy without turning into a lip glue situation the second you talk or eat. NYX Professional Makeup's Butter Gloss was engineered around that exact same challenge, and it costs $6. The whipped, non-tacky base is the kind of formula chemists describe as functionally comparable to what pricier brands use to avoid that stuck-together feeling. Here's the detail that changes how you see this entire comparison. NYX is owned by L'Oreal. The same global labs developing formulation tech for L'Oreal's prestige division, the one that owns Lancôme and YSL Beauty, also touch NYX's formulas. You're often buying genuinely comparable research minus the department store rent. Anastasia Beverly Hills is still privately held and pours heavily into influencer partnerships and brow marketing, which means a real portion of that $20 gloss is quietly subsidizing content you're not even part of. Number 5, NYX. Next up, bronzer, and this one might be the single most requested comparison in my inbox. Physicians Formula versus Tarte. Here's a scenario for you. Two friends are getting ready for the same event. One reaches for Tarte's Amazonian Clay Bronzer, $32, built around a clay base that's supposed to control oil while adding warmth. The other reaches for Physicians Formula's Butter Bronzer, $13, built around Muru Muru butter, a rich skin conditioning ingredient doing essentially the same job clay does, just from a different direction. In blending tests posted by multiple beauty creators, testers repeatedly noticed the Physicians Formula bronzer blended more seamlessly on drier skin, while Tarte's clay formula edged ahead on oilier skin. Translation: the better bronzer isn't about price, it's about what your skin actually needs. Physicians Formula stays under the radar specifically because it doesn't spend big on celebrity campaigns, and that's a large part of how the price stays this low without gutting the formula. Number 4, Physicians Formula. Foundation is next, and this comparison involves two products that are almost suspiciously similar. L'Oréal Paris versus Urban Decay. Urban Decay's Stay Naked Foundation, $39, built its reputation on a weightless 24-hour wear promise and one of the widest shade ranges in prestige makeup. L'Oréal Paris Infallible, 24H Fresh Wear Foundation makes the identical 24-hour claim at $13. Both rely on similar film-forming polymers, a light, breathable layer on skin engineered to resist sweat and oil transfer all day. That's genuinely advanced formulation science, and L'Oréal runs one of the largest cosmetic R&D operations on the planet. In full 12-hour wear tests tracked by reviewers, both formulas showed nearly identical oxidation and fade patterns by hour 10. Nearly a $26 price gap, nearly zero performance gap. And here's the part that makes this almost funny. Urban Decay is also owned by L'Oréal. You're looking at two products from the same parent company, built on overlapping science, priced almost $30 apart, purely based on which shelf they're sitting on. Number 3, L'Oréal Paris. We're closing in on the top two, and both of them are mascaras that beauty communities argue about constantly. Maybelline versus Benefits, they're real. Mascara, $28, has held a spot as a Sephora bestseller for over a decade, largely thanks to a curved brush designed to hook every lash from root to tip. Maybelline's Sky High Mascara uses a nearly identical curved, tapered brush shape at $13. And it's built on a bamboo fiber-infused formula meant to add length without clumping. which happens to be the exact selling point Benefit built an entire ad campaign around years earlier. Sky High has become one of the fastest-growing mascaras in mass retail. Its review count on Target's site now outpaces nearly every other mascara on the shelf, with wearers specifically calling out how little it flakes by the end of the day. Maybelline, like NYX, sits under L'Oreal. Benefit sits under LVMH. Same lash technology research pipeline funding, both just wearing very different price tags. Number 2, Maybelline. And now the comparison that arguably built this entire genre of beauty content. Essence versus Too Faced. Too Faced's Better Than Sex Mascara, $27, has been one of the best-selling mascaras of the last 15 years, known for its dramatic volumizing effect and hourglass-shaped brush. Essence Lash Princess Mascara costs about $5, and it's become one of the most talked-about drugstore products in beauty history for a very specific reason. It uses a nearly identical hourglass brush geometry, engineered to catch lashes from the same angles, paired with a similarly thick, buildable formula. Now, sit with this number. Lash Princess has racked up well over 100,000 five-star reviews across retailer sites, making it one of the most reviewed mascaras on Earth, outpacing Better Than Sex's review volume at roughly 1/5 the price. Essence belongs to Cosnova, a German cosmetics company whose entire business model is built around identifying prestige trends and releasing accessible versions within months. Lash Princess isn't a lucky accident. It's a deliberate, well-executed strategy that happened to go viral. Number 1, Essence, outperforming one of Sephora's biggest bestsellers for the price of a coffee. Let's run the full list back. Milani beat Charlotte Tilbury on blush. Wet n Wild matched Fenty's signature glow and maybe edged it. ELF went shot for shot with Rare Beauty. NYX rivaled Anastasia Beverly Hills at a third of the price. Physicians Formula held its own against Tarte, cleaner formula included. L'Oreal Paris basically tied its own sister brand, Urban Decay. Maybelline outreviewed Benefit. And Essence topped a $27 Sephora bestseller for $5. Expensive doesn't automatically mean better. Sometimes it just means better funded. Tell me in the comments, which one of these are you switching to first? And is there a Sephora product you're still convinced is worth every penny? I read every comment, so make your case. If this saved you money today, subscribe, because next week we're flipping the script completely. 5 luxury products that are genuinely worth the splurge and exactly why the drugstore hasn't been able to touch them yet. Thanks for watching DupeAudit. See you in the next one.